We spent a whole week exploring South Lake Tahoe, Fallen Leaf Lake, and the surrounding lakes, and it felt like a little retreat in nature. We arrived one afternoon at Fallen Leaf Campground, greeted by our family, and realized we had to set up our tent before the sunset. Thankfully, our family had brought everything we needed: tent, mats, sleeping bags. We tucked all the food and toiletries into a bear box nearby, just in case any curious bears decided to wander by. I have to admit, knowing bears were around was a little intimidating, but everyone seemed relaxed about it. Our tent was wide and cozy, and the double sleeping bag was delightfully soft. Once we finished setting up what would be our little home for the week, we lay down for a short rest. Afterwards, we prepared a simple dinner consisting of a warm veggie soup and toast with cheese, and gathered around the fire under the sparkling night sky, catching up with family, sharing stories, and letting the flames share their wisdom. The next morning, I woke up and stayed still for a while, mindfully listening to the birds, feeling embraced by the peaceful forest. I realized sleeping on those thin mats had been a bit uncomfortable. The ground was hard and the night had been cold, but being fully immersed in nature made it all worthwhile. Gwen needed a little more sleep. I went outside to stretch and make a cup of coffee. Sunlight poured through the pine trees, golden and gentle. I came back to the tent and sat enjoying my coffee. With the sun warming my skin and the forest all around me, it felt like the world had slowed down. The morning was still and peaceful, giving me a chance to pause and reflect. After he woke up, we got ready for the day. Nearby, there was a restroom and a tap where we could get fresh, clean water. This experience made me appreciate the comforts we often take for granted, like a soft mattress, an indoor bathroom, and at the same time, it reminded me how little we actually need. I closed up our little tent and got ready for a family breakfast. The campground was serene, our bear box with provisions safely intact, and the tents glistening in the morning light. Our family had a big and old ambulance repurposed as a van. We had a table under a gazebo, a great portable stove, and a wonderful kitchen box with all the essentials. Nearby, another family was camping in a beautifully restored vintage RV. It caught my eye immediately. Its soft pastel colors made it irresistible to sketch. I wandered closer to take a look. It had a side folding table with books, charming yellow chairs, and patterned curtains. It was a classic Shasta Wings, introduced back in 1958, with thoughtful details everywhere, like polished gas tanks. I watched it from different angles and then started a pencil sketch, incorporating our chairs, the fire pit, and a tent in the foreground, and the surrounding trees in the background. The vintage RV drew my eye as the centerpiece of my composition, so I studied it once more to add any final details. When the pencil sketch was finished, I carefully inked the outlines with my fountain pen. Adding watercolor later brought it to life. By the time breakfast was ready, I was still adding small details. This painting became a little story of the morning itself. Then we rested in the hammocks we had tied between the trees. I did my morning meditation there, feeling the wind on my face and the warmth of the sun. It was such a beautiful place to simply relax in the open air, swaying with the gentle movement of the hammock. I stayed mindful of the environment around me, the trees, the sounds, the light. Later, we prepared to go to nearby Falling Leaf Lake. Some of us went by bike, others decided to walk. I had an injured knee from a previous hike, and I was gifted a sturdy stick that helped me a lot along the way. When we arrived, the lake was breathtaking. We found a perfect spot that looked like a little beach. Fallen Leaf Lake is smaller than Lake Tahoe, but it has its own special charm. The weather felt pretty cold to me, but the scenery was so stunning. The brilliant sunlight, the stones along the shore, and the stillness of the water. We set up our mats, and I began looking around, searching for what I wanted to sketch that day. I decided on the mountains and the lake. Everything around us was moving so slowly, and I loved that pace. I started with a pencil sketch, taking my time, feeling how life itself seemed to slow down when surrounded by nature. Then I added some watercolor. It turned out quite nice. I liked the textures I added on the mountains and the beach. It still needed more work, but I let it dry for the moment. On our way back, we came across a dam, and the landscape there was incredibly peaceful. The water flowed so quietly, reflecting beautiful tones of blues and greens. On the other side of the bridge, a creek trickled along, adding to the calmness. It was truly an amazing walk. Further along, we found a huge tree with an opening like a doorway leading inside. We stepped inside, took some pictures, and marveled at its size. We returned to camp. The family had brought out a basket of walnuts from their orchard, and we spent quite a while cracking nuts, talking and laughing together. Those walnuts found their way into many delicious dishes. But more than that, it was just nice to sit there, passing the time without worries, simply being together. That night, we built another fire, sitting under the stars, roasting marshmallows, and watching the flames flicker was magical. We shared stories, we laughed, and we simply enjoyed those moments. I couldn't help but think how, in today's family gatherings, so much time is lost to phones and screens. But here, with no internet, we were truly present with each other. It felt meaningful and rare. It was an amazing experience. Spending a whole week camping felt like a true retreat. That's why I'm creating a series of videos from this adventure. In the next episode, we'll explore South Lake Tahoe, and I'll continue sharing our journey with you. Thanks for watching.